crew, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been MIA for a little bit, but for good reason. I've been working at the snake sanctuary. Oh, look at this one right here. Isn't it a beaut? It's an Aruba from the Amazon. Oh my God, look at it go. It is poisonous, but I know how to handle these. At the snake sanctuary, I've been learning very carefully how to handle these. Dang, man. Oh, where'd he go? He escaped. Oh, man. What? Oh, hold on. I got some of the serum right here. Hold on. I've been working at the snake sanctuary for a couple weeks now, and they've been giving me injections to make me immune to the snake venom and stuff like that. So I think I'll be okay. Okay, crew, today we're gonna talk about a movie. Back to movie reviews of movies you may have never heard of or ones that you may have forgotten about. I'm gonna share with y'all some more crazy movies that I like and talk about them. So new hair. I'm purple and new background. So I'm moving on up. Literally, I'm in the attic. It's my co-host. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about a movie, a blast from the past. In 1973, look how high class I am. Yeah, I'm a knuckle dragger. I don't have the Blu-ray of this, and I don't really need it. Today's movie review is gonna be about this one. 7 S's, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 S's. Not 4, not 5, but 7. Ooh, yeah, this is one of them bargain Walmart DVDs. Anybody ever watch Sssss? All right, just a little bit about me. Without disclosing my age, I was born in the 80s, and growing up, Saturday morning, sometimes late in the evening, but mostly it was Saturday morning. I grew up here in Cleveland, Ohio, and Saturday mornings there was this guy named Superhost, and he did an array, very similar to like the horror host, you know, Ghoulardi, Son of Ghouls, Svengoolie. Every city, every town almost has their little horror, you know, cable access person. He was kind of ours. He was dressed in a Superman costume, and he had a clown nose. Always did Saturday morning movies. Sometimes it was cartoons. Sometimes it was old classic, you know, Abbott Costello, Laurel and Hardy shorts. But then sometimes we did get our horror movies. The three that always stick out from my childhood is Gargoyles and It's Alive. I'll do movie reviews on them later. I tried to dig up as much information about Sssss as I could. It's really hurting. It was kind of hard. I couldn't find much information, so I got what I could. Spoilers! Spoilers! I feel so ridiculous saying the title of this movie. 1973. Special effects aren't too bad for 1973. What is he, a herpetologist? Whatever a man, or whatever a person is who studies snakes is called, there's this guy, Dr. Stoner. Actually, let's rewind it a little bit. The movie starts off with a cool scene. You see, it's dark outside, it's nighttime, and you see this guy who's the doctor, the snake guy, and this other guy, they're like doing a deal, and there's this guy with a big truck, and they have this cage, and you hear this weird gurgling, very disturbing kind of sound, like a creature, and you don't know what it is, and there's a huge cage. Dr. Stoner, the snake guy, is like doing a deal, like selling this other guy, who we later find out is, whether it's politically correct to say this or not, but back then, he was like a sideshow, freak show guy, you know, when you go to the carnivals. Sometimes they still have them nowadays, but they're not real. But back in the day, they were real. He was buying this creature to, you know, show in the circus and the traveling carnivals and sideshow. But you don't know what it is, like, you know, take it away. And later on, the doctor, he's an old guy, old white guy, his name's Dr. Stoner. He goes to like the community college or the college in the area, and he tries to find someone who can be his lab assistant at the snake sanctuary. and he finds this guy named David, young man, good looking guy, to go work at the snake sanctuary like during the summer. And Dr. Stoner is like, okay, you know, you're gonna work with me. I'm gonna show you these snakes. You're gonna learn a lot. It's gonna be very interesting. Dr. Stoner also lives with his daughter named Christina, about David's age, very young. She's pretty. She's got these big 70s glasses, but she's still pretty. They have a snake sanctuary, and they do shows where they, you know, have king cobras and black mambas, and all the snakes used in this movie are real. They actually flew in 5 king cobras from Thailand to make this movie, which was pretty cool. Filmed in the US. But anyways, David kind of lives with them at the snake sanctuary, but the Dr. Stoner guy, mad scientist, if you will, is like, you know, to work with these snakes, we have some highly venomous snakes here, so I need to give you injections of like snake venom to make you immune, you know. And David's young, he doesn't know, he's trusting this doctor. He's like, sure, yeah, I don't want to get bit, so, you know, hook me up. But little does David know, okay, the doctor is actually giving him injections to turn David into a snake. Okay? This is very serious subject matter. If you like movies like The Fly, maybe somewhat Island of Dr. Moreau, getting more modern, very different end of the spectrum, but still similar with like Human Centipede and Tusk. If you know those films where people are turned into things that people are not ever supposed to be turned into. It goes along the lines of those. So poor David is getting injected with this mad scientist serum that's going to eventually turn him into a snake. Dr. Stoner's mad. He's a mad scientist, and basically he feels like in 50 years the world's going to end. You know, mankind is going to be weak and extinct, so he's trying to make the serum to turn man into reptile snake so we can live and be strong. Yeah, it's weird. So David's working at the snake sanctuary, and there's some cool scenes, and it's real. At the snake sanctuary, Dr. Stoner gets out the big king cobra, and he kind of does the thing where he grabs him and extracts the venom. It's kind of cool. Like, those are real scenes. The actor is really doing it, so that's pretty cool. So as the movie goes on, David's just feeling different. Like, there's a scene where his skin is peeling. Like, he looks in the mirror in the morning and he's like peeling his skin like a sunburn, and the doctor's like, yeah, this is normal, you know, it's like a sunburn but from the inside out. And then in other scenes, David's like, you know, doctor, why am I losing weight? Why am I losing so much weight? And he's getting cold. He's like, it's freezing in this lab. You know, snakes or reptiles are cold-blooded, so he's becoming, you know, cold. And in the meantime, David and Dr. Stoner's daughter, Christina, have been getting to know each other a little bit better. And eventually, they kind of do fall in love. And the doctor doesn't realize it till it's a little bit too late. The acting isn't that great. It's a B movie. It's a cult film. The two start to fall in love, but it's not like, it's like there's a scene where David and Christina are driving. I forget where they're going. There's a lake nearby, and David drives down to the lake, and he's like, why don't we go swimming? You know, and Christina, the girl, she's like, but David, we don't have our swimsuits. And this is the 70s. And he's like, well, I thought you were a naturalist, you know, or, you know, a natural kind of woman. And she's like, oh. So, yeah, they both get naked. They don't show it, but they get naked and they go skinny dipping. It's cheesy. It's cheesy, you know. I'm sure most of us have been on a date with somebody where they're like, hey, and you know, it's cheesy. Christina and David eventually do they don't show it, but it's implied that they do make love. You know, they have relations, and they're laying like in the living room, and the fire's going. Dr. Stoner, her dad, comes home, and they're like scrambling around to grab their clothes and go to their each living quarters. But when the doctor comes home, he sees there's clothes strewn about, and the fire's going. So he goes up to his daughter's room, and he's like, and she's all nonchalant, like, "You're home early," and he's all, "I don't want you doing anything with him. I don't want you forming a relationship with him." And she's kind of like, you can't tell me what to do." And he's like, and I think he point blank asks her, "Have you done anything with him?" And she's like, "I'm not going to answer that. You don't have, that's not your right to ask me those kind of questions." And he's like, "I forbid you to have intercourse with him," because he knows what he's doing. And the way he phrases it is like, with all this venom I'm injecting in him, you know, the slightest cut or something, you could get poisoned. You know, he's trying to play it off like that, but he just doesn't want his daughter becoming attached to someone who gonna turn into a snake eventually. So anyways, remember I told you the beginning of the movie, the doctor was, you know, had some kind of creature in a crate and sold it to the circus guy? That creature was Dr. Stoner's first assistant that he injected serum to, and it didn't take. His first assistant basically got turned into a half man, half snake, and it was an unsuccessful. The serum didn't take the way Dr. Stoner wanted it to. It was unsuccessful, so he's like, get rid of this guy. But this kid, his first assistant, has a family, and they're all, well, where's, oh, what was his name? Jeff. No, it wasn't Jeff. Tim, or something like that. John. A very common boy name. And his family's looking for him, and the police come to Dr. Stoner's, you know, ranch, and they're asking, where's your first assistant? And he's like, "Oh, there was a death in the family. He had to go. I've not heard 2 cents from him since." You know, playing it off like he just up and left, when this guy has never been heard nor seen from again. I rewatched this movie last night. It's one of those movies you watch time, and like every 10 years or something you watch it. When I was a kid, I watched it like every month. And how did I watch this movie? Like, there's a scene where David and Christina, they're like on a date, and they go to the local carnival. And at the carnival is the freak show. And Christina doesn't want to go in, but David goes in and sees like all the, don't come at me, but the freaks, they were labeled as freaks back then. There was like a guy with 2 noses, and I forget what else, but there was the snake man, half snake, and it was Dr. Stoner's project. And they show him, and it's like the head of a man and like a half body, and he kind of has these little flipper things. It's disturbing. It is. The special effects aren't too bad for 1973. It's not too bad, honestly. But it's just this poor creature who can't move, who can't talk. These shots the doctor gave him, he can't speak, he can't defend himself. He's living, but he's not living. Like, I'm that weirdo that puts thought into these things. Like, man, kill me. I can't talk. I can't do anything. Like, is kind of like a little, it's a life, but it's not a life. You know what I'm getting at? Like, he can't move, and he's trying to communicate. If you watch the movie, it's this awful gurgle. It gets to you, like, this poor guy. David comes out and he tells Christina, "Man, the snake was real." Because she's all like, "These things are fake. That's hokey. That's cheesy." He's like, "That was real. And it had blue eyes. Do you know any snakes that have blue eyes?" And she's like, no, that's interesting. Long story short, Christina wants to see this snake because she thought more about it. And she goes to the circus or the sideshow, but it was closed. And they're like, "Get out of here, you know, we're closed." But she sneaks in, like, through their tents, you know, and she sneaks in and she finds the snake guy, and she recognizes him. she knows it's Dr. Stoner's first lab assistant. And I forget, she's screaming whatever his name is, and then she runs and she finds out what's happening. You know, she comes home. And by this point, Dr. Stoner has David like on a gurney, you know, strapped in, and is giving him the last injections. At this point, his skin is all green, you know, his nose is starting to flatten, you know, he's getting snake-like features. It's a cheesy scene, but they show him kind of like shrinking, you know, his shoulders are becoming flat and stuff like that. And the serum takes. He becomes a snake. A sneaky snake. I think he becomes a king cobra too, actually. If you're gonna be a snake, be the king, right? Dr. Stoner eventually gets ate by a snake. I mean, there's a school bully that tries to get with Christina, and they end up killing him because he kills one of their pet snakes, you know. So, without giving too much away, David becomes a snake. And they're still making that gurgling noise. And at this point, Dr. Stoner died, and the police come. And David's a snake. They show him he's a sneaky snake, and in the lab where all the snakes are in cages and terrariums, there's like a mongoose. Mongoose that makes this weird noise. This mongoose gets out of his cage and he starts attacking David. And then the police come and you hear like some gunshots, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. You don't know kind of what happens. One is apt to assume the mongoose eats David or kills him, which in my opinion is probably the best way, but what a waste of a life, you know? It's a weird movie. When I think, I don't know, I watched it as a kid and I loved it as a kid, but now that I rewatched it, like the scene where they see the first, the dogs defending the castle. Mailman's probably here. Like there's a couple disturbing scenes, like when they show the snake guy. I don't know, as a kid I thought it was cool, like, ooh, but I think when you're a kid and you're a grown-up, you're just such at different levels. Like, you and I might watch something and be like, God, I would never show that to a kid. But a kid doesn't view things the way we do. We have so much more knowledge and understanding of certain things. Kids just watch things at face value sometimes. I don't know. Every child obviously is different. But I was able to watch movies like that and It's Alive and Gargoyles and other horror movies. Not anything like R-rated. Certain things that were maybe a little disturbing. It's Alive is about a baby that crawls around killing people. Review that next. It's a good movie. It's stupid, but it's good. Yes, is rated PG. I would watch it before showing it to your kid because there might be a few things you might not want your kid to see. It's hard to say. It's PG, but there is a little disturbing. I'm not gonna lie. There's no cursing. I mean, there's a scene where they skinny dip, and there is a scene kind of at a strip club with the college guys, the one that kind of hits on Christina, and they're kind of gawking at this woman, like, if you got a little girl, I mean, I watched it as a kid, but I didn't view it in a way like you or I would view it. It was just like, whatever, the girl's dancing, the guys think she's cute. When I was a kid, it was like, let's get to the snake action. You just sat there during those parts, like, come on, get to the snake. With 7 S's, has a 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which means it's probably not a very good film, but it holds a special place in my heart because it's weird. Remember years and years ago when Human Centipede came out, and most of us only knew of that film from a referral from a friend who got stuck watching it. That's the kind of movie. It's like, there's this doctor, and he gets these people, and he stitches them together, and makes a human centipede. That's what this movie is. To me, that's what this is. It's like, a guy turns into a snake. A snaky snake. And you're like, ooh, I gotta watch that movie. It's cheesy, it's hokey, but it is all kinds of fun So there you have it. My movie review. I guess it was more like a story time, telling you about growing up watching that movie. If you've never seen it, it's worth a watch. You probably gonna watch it and be like, Angela, that movie's so stupid. How dare you suggest that? I'm just gonna share with you guys really weird movies that I like and maybe are a little underappreciated. Make fun of me all you want. Come at me. I don't care. I like Sssss. You know, I think it's a good movie. I think. Oh no!